Hi everyone, this is another update of the 280C being built for the Dakar Classic. Lots of progress has been done. I'm going to try to break this video into a couple different areas of updates. I'm going to start with the fast EFI electric fuel injection system that I just recently purchased and installed, and finally get it running properly. The whole kit comes in this box. It's a pretty small box, but you don't really need much. It comes with all these sensors that you will be using eventually, and there's some that are optional. As you can see, some of the adapters, in this case I didn't need them. um, there's a lot of instructions. Unfortunately, the instructions are made for a throttle body, like if you were putting this on a V8. And even the harness, you will see, it's kind of designed for a V8, so it's kind of hard to follow along, but I think with some basic mechanics you get the idea. I also went on YouTube and look at other people that had already installed it to kind of get an idea of what I needed to do in a few cases. um, and I'll mention those as I kind of take you through the car actual installation. I haven't yet used the how do you call this external mesh to protect the wiring harness, but I'm gonna be eventually running it through. It's just that I didn't know. You will see that the design of that harness is strange. It doesn't fit proper easily, I guess you can say, on the on an inline six. It's kind of made for a V8, but it works. um, this is the adapter for the coolant temperature sensor. I didn't need, in my case, it bolted straight into the housing, the thermostat housing. I already had a bunch of these little nipples, or I guess vacuum line covers, but I didn't need to use this. And these are the leftover two injector connectors. I have a six cylinder, but like I said, this kit is meant for a V8. This is the bag with all the little sensors that I use, and they come in this list right here. And as you can see, everything is numbered, so it's super easy to know what it is. I really like the way they put it together. The fast group, the fast team, so props to them on that. Let me show you on the car. So when you buy that kit, it comes with this pipe to replace where the intake flow sensor, I guess you can say, it was. Mine was pretty crappy, so I knew I needed to get this anyway. Plus, if I'm gonna be racing this car, I'm trying to make components to be not modern, but at least not so old, or more easily accessible. Most of these components, I think, are GM, and you can probably find them in any auto parts. So anyway, there's a throttle position sensor that just pretty much slides into the original shaft from the butterfly. Pretty easy to set up too. This air temperature sensor, it actually comes named and everything, so it's pretty easy to follow. It just slides into the original boot. I didn't need to do much. um, they said it comes with this little box that taps into the negative of the coil to be able to read the tachometer, so your computer knows your RPM. um, Again, all that is super straightforward and explained in the manual. Very easy. I didn't had no issues at all with that part. With the injectors, I guess they're pretty self-explanatory. All injectors plug in right where the originals were. And as you can see, the harness it's not pretty. It's definitely not pretty. That it is kind of split into two, like if you had two banks, four cylinders there and then four cylinders on the other side. So when you're trying to put six cylinders in line, there's just a lot of slack in a few of the branches, and then barely any slack for the middle branches. So it's all over the place. It's not pretty, but that's okay. I just want functionality more than looks. This is your T-map, I think it's called. It measures the, I think, air pressure, and it's connected to the actual intake, so it's reading how much vacuum you're pulling in. I actually use I noticed that it's in an off position. You might be thinking like, well, why did you put it there? It actually was, I got lucky that those original holes, there were two that align at the same distance that this sensor was, I guess, built, and it fits perfect. So I was like, instead of making a bracket or anything extra, let me just bolt it in there. Plus it's pretty accessible too. um, I was concerned of fluid going into the connectors, especially since it's straight up vertical down, but it has a good weather seal, so I'm not too concerned. This is an adapter that also comes with the kit, so you can join it to the harness. um, all of those instructions are in the actual manual that comes with the kit, so again, easy to follow. Now this guy got me a little confused. This is the um, idle valve. So you kind of, it comes apart into pieces. There's the actual valve in here. This is just a little filter for the breather, because it's going to be breathing and let air into your intake, and then connects to the harness down there. There's no specific location for this thing to go, so I just bolted it. I had this big hose clamp, and it fit perfectly around that sensor, so I just bolted it to the intake manifold. I think you can see, there you go. Yeah, so that makes it easier for you to see, and it's pretty solid there. Obviously it needs to be connected to the intake somehow, so I used the original hose that used to tee off here into the breather from the valve cover and into the original idle valve. Forgot how you call it. I have it somewhere in the garage. But the engine looks a lot cleaner. The intake manifold, all the vacuum actuated devices are not there anymore, so I really like it. I make my own little block of plate for this little guy and just put a little nipple here, and I think that's all I plugged. Oh, down here there is this line that goes from the intake all the way to the block. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. You see that little a little filter out there? I put that filter, that's where the line used to go. There you go, that little guy right there. So the line used to go from the block out and all the way down here. I was looking at this guy and it looks like it's a threaded connection, so I'm probably gonna take out this hose end and just unthread it and thread a dead end, so that way it's say less parts, less chances for failure. I bought these little cheap filters just so I don't get any debris or animals or anything creeping in there. It's a good habit. And I also decided to buy, after I installed everything with fast EFI, I realized that it wasn't running good. It was just struggling to idle, and it will run good and then it will die again. It was just acting stupid. So I took the distributor cap, and it was pretty corroded indeed, all the points. So I got a new cap and rotor and new cables too, might as well. And the issue was still there. And I got myself a little fuel pressure, a cheap one. This will go away eventually. Right now it's just for testing purposes, but I was trying to figure out, all right, how much pressure do I have? And that was just looking at pressure. I haven't looked at flow, so I just one step at a time. And I saw that I was building pressure, so good on that department. I was not thinking too much about fuel. Plus the computer, I will show you later on how the little computer looks like. It was reading rich, so I was thinking I'm throwing more fuel than what I need to. I was wrong, and I will get you there in a minute. So anyway, ended up, this is another sensor here, the coolant. Oh, sorry, that camera. Coolant temperature sensor. I removed the original one, and this sensor out here right next to it, I never knew exactly what it is for. That one, it's right next to the coolant sensor, and I never knew what it is, but you don't need it once you get the fast EFI. This little nipple right here was a ground that was going to, oh god, I forgot where that ground was going, but it was all broken in my case, and it was just useless. I still need to figure that out, where that goes. There's also another line where the sensor is now. This is the old temperature sensor. There used to be a T here that will come out, and it will emit you meet man, a sensor that was sitting here on top of the intake. I guess it was looking at the temperature of the coolant to either open or close anything, something. Again, half of the stuff is so old, and this is the early stages when they were trying to do electric fuel injection, so super redundant components and kind of very mechanical. I didn't know exactly what it was. I took the opportunity to take the thermostat housing out and just put a new thermostat and put some new gasket and make sure that it's a little more solid. Again, this is planning to be a race car, so I'm trying to make it as simple as possible and as basic as possible and reliable. And if I need to repair on a race, again, easy components and basic components is the best way to do it. So this was the old coolant line. As you can see, I bent it out of the way just because I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do. I was thinking about cutting it here. It used to go all the way down to this joint, and from this joint, that's where your one of the two hoses that go to the heater inside of the inside of the cabin. You can see your two heating lines, inlet and outlet. I'm not sure which one is which, but this is your other connection. So one was in front of the block and the other one was in the back of the block, or vice versa. I blocked that off. I try to look online if it will affect the flow of the coolant through the block. I mean, the head in this case actually is the head to the block. Hard to tell, but yeah, this connection is right at the block level, and right, this is the head line. So from here above is head, and this one is actually on the head. So I wasn't sure if there was any problems by blocking them up. Like, I didn't want to create a heat area on this back of the engine while the thermostat was still closed. I know the thermostats don't fully close, they always have a tiny little bit of flow, so it's not like the worst case ever. But again, online you can find everything, right? So some people say that it's cool, some people say that it's bad, and another guy said, I've been running it like that for like 10 years. I cannot I don't really know. I guess I will find out. Let's see what else we've been working on. Got a temporary battery holder made out of a piece of aluminum. It's just so I don't create a fire. This scares me a lot. The positive terminal is really close to the body. I might get a different battery with the positive is in that side because it's just too scary that it's gonna spark. Going back to the EFI, I think that I took you through all the sensors already. And well, anyway, when the failure mode that I had was, once I installed everything, it was still running like crap and I had pressure. So eventually I started to go drive it around and put my put the gauge out there and start driving around. And when it failed, I came to look and I noticed that it was indeed dropping a lot of pressure. Now apparently it's pretty normal to have a pressure close to 38-40 psi in idle, and then comes down to 32-34 when you're driving around. That's why you have this vacuum actuated device too that will help control the fuel pressure, since the atmospheric pressure is changing due to the vacuum that you're creating, the negative pressure. So I was not too concerned when I saw it coming down, but then I saw it reaching really low pressure, like below 20 psi, and that's when I knew that I had something going on with the fueling. So going to the fueling, I forgot that I got the big tires. It's hard to see. So out there, the pump and the regulator, took it all apart, and I indeed found that the inlet of the pump, which is this line right here, this one comes from the tank. So if you follow it, it goes over the cross member, comes out this way, comes down. I put a filter just so I can keep an eye on the debris. You can see this bottom stuff is all rust debris that is still in the hose, but I already cleaned the tank. So the problem was the tank. It was full of rust. I'm not good at editing videos, but I'm gonna see if I can put a video of how I found that dirty tank and how I clean it. I put it on my Instagram, but like I said, I'm not good making videos, so I'm not sure how to edit it in here. If not, go check the Instagram. I always put little videos there and little more detailed updates than this long videos. My Instagram is called Rust Bucket Z, like a rust bucket with a Z at the end. Rust Bucket Z. Anyway, well, I think I found my fueling issues. There's the tank. The tank was just full of crap, and that's what it was plugging and messing with the whole uh, engine running. And once I cleaned that up, now the engine runs beautiful, and I can finally tune it up. It also has instructions on the big guidebook out there of um, how to set your computer. So once you key on, um, it opens up the setup wizard, and all the instructions have pictures and pretty handy. One thing that I couldn't find very well was what's the stock volume flow of fuel. It asks you at some point for that, and all I could find was 18. What were the units? I forgot the unit. I'll be lying to you, but it was 18 what I found at 38 psi, I think. um, so I set it up that way, and it works great. The instructions are pretty easy to follow again, and I think that FastDFI actually has a video on YouTube on how to set that up. Now, trying to remember back if they had a video about this or not, I'm not sure anymore, but I do remember they had videos online, at least for how to wire, how to set up some of the sensor out in the engine. After that, I only just run the live data now, so whenever I'm running the engine, I can keep an eye on all the controllers. There's different setups, different versions. Obviously, I don't have much experience with it. I just literally finished it a couple of days ago, so it's still early stages for me. But so far, so good with it. Finally, after I fixed the fueling issues, I can set up the engine to run properly, and I could tell for the first time how the conditions of this engine were, how much power was it delivering. Obviously, I'm not dynoing it, but I can feel it driving for the first time. This engine, I don't remember. I think I have. Oh, I forgot to throw away the filter. I think it's either 18 or 20 years ago that it was the last time that it run, based on the fuel filter date that it had on it. So yeah, that engine had been resting for a long time, so I haven't messed with it much. I'm trying to let it run and burn everything that it needs to burn. Pretty sure the intake must be super dirty. Same thing with the combustion chambers, probably full of soot. Eventually this engine will be torn apart, maybe get a manifold. I actually removed this downpipe because I had to weld. I forgot to tell you, there's an O2 sensor that comes in. Wait, there it is. There's an O2 sensor that comes with the kit. The kit needs to read, obviously, how rich or lean you're running to adapt how much fuel to dump in. So I decided to stay with my old downpipe because I just wanted to run. I just want this vehicle to move. I want to test the suspension, I want to test the bearings, I want to test transmission, everything. And later on I'll put an exhaust manifold and maybe port the head. Even though this one has the sleeve, so I don't think I can port it. This head is, oh man, I'm not really savvy on this one. N47, right there, you can see it. And I don't remember my block, but I know that this N47 has these sleeves inside of the ports, so I don't think I can port this head, which is a bummer. But I might be able to increase some flow by changing the intake air throttle, and maybe cleaning up some of the inlets and outlets on the intake manifold and exhaust. Maybe, I am not really sure. Again, I'm trying to follow the FIA rules and regulations for the Dakar Classic, and I cannot put on a different engine, a more modern engine. There's some flexibilities. They say that you can put another engine from the same era, but nothing newer than 99. And I actually struggled to find a cheap, easy, reliable engine without having to modify too much. So I kind of decided to stay with this guy, the L28. Um, we'll see if that pays off or not eventually. I hope in the long run to get 200 horsepower out of this thing. That will be ideal. My oh, you cannot see it, but my daily 280CX, that one has a VQ and it has a turbo, so that thing probably has like 300 or a little more horsepower, and I wish I could have that power on this race car, and I know I'm never gonna get it, but that's okay. That's it for the update on the EFI. Let me update you on the seats. So this car obviously again has to meet the FIA regulations, and the seats have to be FIA approved. These ones are good all the way to 2028. So I built these brackets out of 3.2 millimeter steel. You can also do thicker. I think it's 5 millimeter aluminum, but I decided to go with steel because I'm not really that good at welding aluminum. So the first iterations that I made a seat that was mounted to the original place, but it was raised here at the bottom so I could reach the bracket, the mounting bracket from the back. And when I was all said and done, put on my helmet, which I have right there. I put my helmet on and I started to feel how close I was to the ceiling, how close I was to this rail here, because there's going to be a roll cage eventually, mandatory by, like I said, by the rules, the regulations. And it was just too close. I was just too close to the roof. I was too close to the tube, so I was going to be hitting the roll cage all the time. Not a good design, so I had to go back to the drawing board and redo the seats. It was a pain in the ass because I put a lot of effort in making the stupid seat mounts. So I had to redo these ones. These ones don't have the little step here in the back. They mount directly to the chassis. Well, not chassis, but the cross member down here. And I'm gaining about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches or so. And I also tried to push it to the inside. And I had to hammer it. As you can see, I have to use my persuasive hammer to there's a bulge here, and sorry for the angle again, I'm not good with cameras. There's a bulge here that goes all along to the back, and as you can see from the front all the way to the back of the seat, I hammered it in, so you can see the beat up that it took. It will be painted again eventually, but I just finished this last night, so this is just me test fitting. And I think I finally have it dialed where the seat will go. That was a difficult part, but it's I think it's set. And also I was struggling with getting in deep enough to the center, both of them, that they wouldn't touch the door. So I finally have some clearance. At the same time, I was trying to build a 3-inch gap here, because there will be part of the roll cage going from the back to the front feet. And again, one of the regulations is mandatory. The pipe that I think I mentioned this on the prior video, but the pipe that I'm using, the tube, it's 1/7/8 for the main cage. Again, that's by the instructions, the regulations, 1/7/8 outer diameter, 120 wall DOM, and 1.5 for the supporting the extra cross members, the roof cross member, and the door cross member, the back one. No, the back ones are part of the main one. So the back X, those things will be done with the 1.5. I got my JD tube bender. I still haven't received the dies, so I'm still waiting for that, but I already bought some material so I can make my pole and mount it here in this corner. I'm thinking about mounting it right in this corner so I can put the pipes in this direction and kind of bend them towards the outside of the garage. We'll see if that idea pays out. The front, oh yeah, all this mess. Let me try and explain you what's happening here. So these fenders were pretty rusted, and as you already know, I did a lot of the metal repairs. You can see where the new metal is in. So I decided to scrub them all with a metal wheel, and then use this rust converter. I really like it. It works great. It's a little pricey. I think about it on Amazon, but I really like it. You can tell how. I think I haven't painted this one. Here you can see the areas where it was pitted. It creates this. I don't know how do I say. It's like a varnish layer. It like completely um, covers or kills the rust from. You can see that it's isolated now, and no water or oxygen can energize it again. I did that for pretty much everything that has rust on this damn car, and that's everywhere. So these fenders obviously had that done, and now I'm painting them with some rust oleum oil-based paint, just to kind of give it an extra protection. That's what the actual rust converter recommends. So this is the first coat. Obviously you can tell that it's not fully covering, so a second coat, maybe a third one might be needed. Took the lights off in the process, and I'll probably going to upgrade to something more powerful, because these are the original halogen bulbs, and maybe LEDs might fit good. I have this housing here in the back, and it's gonna prevent me from having a large variety of lights that I can put in here, because the back of the bulb needs to fit in here. Maybe I might be able to cut this out now that I think about it. So far I haven't bought lights yet. If you know of anything, let me know. But yeah, that will be another project. For now I gotta just make the car reliable, running, and then we can work with the rest. I update you on the seats, I update you on the engine, the suspension. So the car, last time in the prior video, I was racing it, and I hadn't yet figured out what was the actual height that I wanted to run. I think I reached my limit on height, due to the tie rod ends. They are not long enough. I might have to either modify these ones or buy some other ones, because they are starting to get maxed out. So this is how far you can get them out. Obviously they mounted right here, and at that angle they're starting to be a little too far out. Obviously I had these Apex Engineering arms fully extended, but there's still about, I don't know, ½ inch of threads for safety, obviously. Same thing on the back control arms, and I really like them. They're good quality, you can tell. Unfortunately the company has made so many mistakes. First time around they forgot to send me the rear hardware, so things like the little arm for the back, some of the bolts and nuts for the back, they forgot to send me those. So it was strange, because I had to post on Instagram and call them out for them to react, because I tried to send them emails, but there was no reaction. And then when they sent me the extra components, they forgot to send me the boots. I paid extra for these little rubber boots. That one right there, you can barely see it, but there's rubber boots there, and there's some in the back. Let me take you to the back. And they forgot to send the freaking boots. So right now I don't have boots in the back, and that was about 3 weeks ago. So I've been trying to get a hold of them. I already paid for them boots. They were nice enough to send me an extra 2 boots the first time around, where they realized that they forgot to send me this guy and some of the other hardware, the bolt that goes through, that was also missing. And they sent me extra 2 boots because they saw that one of my front ones was broken. So that was nice. I can tell they have clear good intentions, but god damn it, whoever is doing the packaging keeps screwing it up, because they forgot to send me my 4 boots in the back, which like I said, I already paid for them. So no boots in the back for now. The quality is really good. You can tell that these are well built. When I was installing this, took the opportunity to clean up the diff cover and paint this gold, just because hell, why not? um, but I need to change, where are they? Oh, here, the mount, the differential mount, and also the one at the, where is it? Here we go, that one, because they are not working quite right. You can see that the diff has a lot of play when I'm driving it, especially when I'm playing with the clutch a lot, like letting go strong. You can see the whole thing is rocking quite a bit. So I'm gonna have to work that out. These coilovers, they're already welded. I had this new, there's more details on the Instagram, but I had this idea of, because I'm not following the actual instructions that they tell you to cut it, I think 50 millimeters from the bottom so you can weld it all the way to the housing. I'm not following those because I was going to not have the enough height that I wanted, because again, I'm not lowering this car, I'm lifting it. So I decided to drill holes. I have five or six holes all around the perimeter, and I'm welding them to try to give this 2 points of contact and have some extra rigidity, just because I'm not going all the way to the bottom. I do think that I'm not too stressed about the stresses that this section will see. I'm more actually concerned about the stresses that this area will see. I've seen other vehicles that when they extend this so much, this hollow section only has, I don't know, an inch or less of threads, and then this becomes the weakened point, and I've seen them right here. So I was trying to avoid that and put some of the stress, split some of the stress out of the middle and more towards the bottom. We'll see if my gamble pays off. Let me see if I can get you in this weird angle. Ooh, when I took the tank off, let's see if that works. I'm not sure if you can see, but if I zoom out, when I took the tank off, I painted everything, all the metal that I replaced on the spare tire area. All that area was painted and new metal welded, so I wanted to protect it from the rust and debris and crap. Let me get out of the back. I think that it's all with respect to the suspension. Oh, this little thing, so they're mandatory. FIA regulations say that they have to have this, either this type of ring with a 50 millimeter hole, or the strap ones, the sparkle strap ones. And I'm gonna have they require you one in front, one in the back, but I'm gonna have 4, and I'm gonna split the difference. So the next one on this side will be the sparkle strap, so I can have both styles of connections. When we usually go off-roading, some people have like these solid hooks, most people have these soft shackles, but I want to be able to receive any type of help. I will remove this original hook, which is super heavy, and install the other type of connection here. Oh, finally got keys. Took this to the locksmith and they got me a key, so now I can open and close and lock this vehicle. What else do we do back here? This is my helmet for testing purposes and fitment. I think I'm still waiting for the dice to make the roll cage, so there's not much space, as you can see, behind the seats. It's gonna be tight, so I'm thinking about grinding all these spot welds and removing this section out of the way. It'll give me some space. I think I saw it on Instagram or in YouTube. Somebody had already removed that. It looks great. It gives you a lot of space, and it will help me when I'm putting that roll cage in there. See, the next steps will be to remove the dash. I want to take this dash off so I can finish inspecting the metal if there's any rust behind the dash. I don't think so, because I probably would have seen it from the firewall, but you never know. And also finish painting the vehicle in that direction. Once the dash is out and hopefully the dies are coming in for the tube bender, I will be able to start making the cuts on the dashboard, so I can run the roll cage down along this pillar and probably behind somewhere over here. I think that I'll be making a cut. Some people bend them right in front of the dash and kind of send their roll cage down to the feet, but it's already really tight with these racing seats and the cross member that I will have here. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough space to get out of the car once I put all the stuff. So I'm debating still how I'm gonna build this cage. Also, talking about cage, there's there's three options that the regulations offer you to build. One is building a main frame that you go up and down here as a main frame, and then you just join it from side to side. And the other one is the more popular one, where you just come from behind the seats up and over and then back in that direction, like a full square behind the seats. That's the most common one. That's what I have in my daily 280CX. But I am not sure which one am I gonna follow. I kind of like the idea of going up a single piece all the way to the front. We'll see. Seats, I already bought seat belts, but they have to wait for the roll cage for me to put them on. It's by the regulations, 6 points mandatory, and obviously FIA approved. And I eventually have to deal with the steering. I think I don't have any more updates. This is a long video. Sorry for taking you for such a long ride, but there's a lot of obviously progress that was done, and I kind of wanted to share it with you. I'm gonna go ahead and give these guys another coat and put them on the car. Finally have all the body together. Let me do a final walk around the car so you can check it out. I think it looks great with the lift. And that white tank looks funny, but it's a race car. You gotta do some crazy shit anyway. It's starting to look much better than before. There's so much rust that was repairing this thing, but it's finally together. Well, thank you. Have a great day.